Hello, today we are talking about Dracula and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Now, these two books, I don't know if you can tell, super thin. These are not the full version, so I will have to read the full versions eventually. But I just wanted to talk about these. So it seems like these are an abridged or condensed version for either middle schoolers, junior high, or high school, especially because they have some questionnaires in the back just asking so that they can make sure that you understood the books. They were good. I think it was well paced and for the most part gets the main idea of the story without having to read the full novel. So I feel like this is something that's digestible and would be interesting for a kid, and it could let them kind of get the main idea and see if they want to continue and read the full novel. I liked these. I don't know where the heck these were when I was in school because I would have loved reading these. Like, we read stories like The Black Cat, Beowulf. They were fun, but I would have loved reading something like this. We read a bunch of Shakespeare, and I'm like, we could have been reading this. What the heck? I will say, I feel like there is a lot missing. It's done well enough that, like I said, you get the main idea. But reading these, they're not really that scary. And so I know there's probably something missing, but basically I feel like these aren't really that scary, and you don't really get a chance to really get into like what would have maybe been classified as that like spooky or eerie feel that made these stories so prominent. Granted, I will say I've read some stories from back in the day and people are like, oh, they're so scary, and then you read it and you're like, it's okay, it's not really that scary, but I can see why you'd put it in horror. I just don't really think it was scary. And I've read a lot of horror, so I don't know, because there's some books where I'm like, I see why they're horror, but they're not scary. It's more they're like disturbing or they're gory. But I think these were fun. I feel like these should definitely be read by everybody, even if it's a condensed version. These are just classics, so I feel like that is awesome that they were in a school. I feel like they should be, like, everyone should be reading them for English or creative writing, just for some class. Now, the main gist of this video is I wanted to answer some of these questions and do it like a book report because that sounds fun. I am not going to read all of the questions because there are like a bunch of freaking questions per little chapter or section, so I'm not going to do all that. But I am going to answer a couple. So in the second chapter, it's titled The Three Women. One of the questions is, what fell from Jonathan's neck? That would be his cross. Until when must the girls not touch Jonathan? Until he's fulfilled his purpose, like Dracula can't use him anymore. Chapter 7, I'm not going to say the title because I don't want to spoil anything. There is a question, what happened to the young children? They get bitten. First chapter for Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Describe the appearance of Dr. Jekyll. So, Dr. Jekyll is a tall man, and he wears glasses. He seems like a nice person. He's got like a friendly face. And then, in comparison, Mr. Hyde is very, very short. He's very short, and he's got hairy, like, knuckles. And then he has this presence about him that makes people feel kind of uncomfortable. Like, a lot of the people describe he'll look at them or he'll speak to them and they get goosebumps or they get like a cold chill. And then another thing is his face just somehow looks unnatural. It seems like it's the face of a demon almost. And then in one of the chapters, it asks, describe the mixture which the visitor made. And I believe that's the potion or the drink that Dr. Jekyll and or Hyde would make. So they describe it as it changes colors. It goes into like a purpley color when it boils, and then when it stops boiling, it turns green, like a bright green, and it looks almost glowing. And that is made from a salt. But yeah, so these two books, I would encourage anyone, if you're interested, I would probably just buy the full novel. That way you can get every little bit from the story. But these are fun and they're super easy to read. Like, you could easily crank these out, both of them, in a day because they're like 70 pages. So yeah, I think everybody should read these.